Hey guys, let's talk digestion. If you're struggling with bloating, belching, passing gas, or generally feeling unwell after meals, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through a high level, simple overview of digestion. I will share with you 10 signs that your body may be struggling with digestion, and then we'll get to the good stuff and wrap it up with 5 things that you can do anytime, anywhere to optimize your digestion naturally. All right, let's dig in. When I think of digestion, I think of 3 core foundations: a regulated nervous system, the mechanics, which is chewing your food and the churning in your stomach, and then the chemistry, which is the acid, the bile, the pancreatic enzymes, and bicarb. All right, where does digestion begin? Well, many of us think that digestion begins in the stomach, but it doesn't. It actually begins in your mouth. If you have a plate of steak right in front of you, your body does not know what to do with that steak. It is a foreign invader for sure. So it needs to undergo digestion. The mechanical is, again, the chewing, and then the saliva is part of the enzyme part. Well, when you're chewing, what's also going on is your stomach is being cued to produce hydrochloric acid, which is HCl. HCl is important because it not only does it kill off pathogens and foreign invaders, but it also begins to break down proteins. You want that process chemically to be happening in your stomach. So you need enough stomach acid for that to happen. Furthermore, you also need enough stomach acid because when that ball of food is ready to be dropped into your duodenum, which is the first portion of your small intestines, it needs to be highly acidic. Because when it is highly acidic, it triggers your small intestines to, or your small intestines is cued to trigger a hormonal response to have a bile release, pancreatic enzyme release, and bicarb. Well, all 3 of those things are alkaline. So this is really cool, guys. What happens when alkaline meets acid? You get this eruption, this fizzle, this sizzling mess. And that's exactly what you want to have happen in your duodenum because they're neutralizing one another. Your small intestines was not built to withstand an environment which was too acidic or too alkaline. So neutralization is essential for your body to further break down carbohydrates, proteins, emulsified fats, so that those things can be assimilated, absorbed, and sent off to various areas of the body for utilization. Now, what are 10 signs that your body may be struggling? We're going to divide this up into sections. The first section, the first 3, all have to do with your bowel movements. So I look at color. If your bowel movements are lighter than the color of corrugated cardboard, you're likely struggling with getting enough bile or optimal bile flow. Next is consistency. So we have 2 polar opposites here. If they are too loose, mushy, or liquid, there's digestion needs help. If they're on the opposite side of that and they're too hard, they're pebble-like, they're dry, that's also an indication. The last part with the bowels is the frequency. If you're not having a bowel movement every day, then you're likely struggling with digestion. If you're having like sudden urgent bowel movements multiple times, like more than 3 times a day, this is also signaling that there's likely some type of an issue going on. Now, the next 3 that I have for you are bloating, gas and belching, and then reflux. Now, reflux can be with or without the feeling of heartburn. You can have silent reflux. The last section, these are the ones that we tend to not think of as much as the others. The first being pressure and fullness underneath your right rib cage. It may be a little bit more centered for some people, and it may wrap around, go into your shoulder blade and up into your shoulder. If you avoid, the next one I have for you is if you avoid things like proteins, certain proteins or certain fats, this may also be an indication. I've worked with people that won't eat red meat, not because they don't like it, but because they don't like how they feel when they have it. Avoidance of specific food groups because you feel bad indicates that there's a likely need to optimize your digestion. The next one is a tag onto that, and that is food sensitivities. When you have food sensitivities with multiple food groups, you're likely struggling with digestion. And then the last one that's not as well known is skin issues like acne or rashes, including autoimmune rashes. Now, what do you do? Let's get to the good stuff. What are 5 things you can do anytime, anywhere? Well, the first thing is to slow down. Take your small bites and chew them thoroughly. When we scarf down a meal, it doesn't give our stomach enough time to produce enough stomach acid, and your digestion is hindered from then on out. So slow down. The other thing you can do is take slow, steady breaths, engage your diaphragm, have that structure here expand. That's going to signal to your brain that this is time to rest and digest. Send blood to the digestive tract so you can digest. The next thing would be for acid testing, essentially, to help with this. So you can use apple cider vinegar mixed in water before you eat your meal. This can help with producing enough stomach acid. It is possible for people to make too much. It's not as common. So you can try the opposite with that and do baking soda mixed with water. Now, if you're struggling with either one of those, then you probably need more work, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Okay, the fourth one that I have for you is fermented foods. You only need about 1 teaspoon worth per meal. You can have a little bit more if you want, but 1 teaspoon is sufficient. If you have this, though, and you struggle with a histamine response, you feel worse when you have fermented foods, then skip this one, because this one truly is not for everybody. The last one that I have for you may be the most challenging for some. I don't know, it was for me. And that is to have water away from meals, like plain water away from meals. The reason being is I was taught, have a glass of water before you eat your meal and it'll help you to eat less. That's not the way to think about this. What it's actually doing is diluting your stomach acid. Now your digestion is going to be hindered throughout the entire process. So 30 minutes before your meal, stop drinking water, only have sips as needed. If you're going to do the baking soda or the apple cider vinegar, that's okay. And then wait for about an hour and a half after you finish your meal before resuming your water intake. All right, guys, these are some basic things that you can do anytime, anywhere. For some people, this may not be enough. You may need to work on your producing more stomach acid. You may need to work on your bile flow. You may have a fungal or bacterial overgrowth or many more things. The important thing is if you're still struggling, work with somebody who has a thorough understanding of not only digestion, but gut health as a whole. That's where you can begin to get the help and the resolution that you need. If there's anything I said in this video that you want to learn more about, put it in the comments. I love talking about digestion, so I'm more than happy to make more videos. Stay tuned for the next video where Coach Callie is going to tag on to this topic and talk about food sensitivities.